Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. Carrie has been in the rental industry since 2007, which has allowed her to stay home with her three kids while making a full-time income. Her latest rental company she started in 2020 is called Moving Box Rentals. Carrie is most passionate about the one in particular, as it is great for busy moms who want to work from home. She now teaches women worldwide how to start this very same business within 100 days. And I think this is really critical, especially where we're sitting right now, where we've seen cost of food. We have food scarcity for a lot of families. We have housing scarcity for a lot of families. We're sitting at in North America, in the United States and Canada, we're sitting at nearly like around something like 3 million shortages within housing, right? We go to the grocery stores and cheese that was $4 just a few months ago is now like $7. And so creating these opportunities is going to be critical. And in the world we're in today, having digital access is awesome. So, welcome to the show, Carrie.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, Carrie and I, just so everybody knows, Carrie also hosts great events around kind of those side hustles and creating businesses, and they're all online, so easy to access. And that's how I met Carrie. And the reality is that everybody keeps talking about how to make $1 million, how to make 8 figures, how to make 9 figures. What about just putting an extra $800 a month in my pocket? How about finding a way that I can add $600 to my bottom line? That is my child's dental. That is my child's swim classes. That is a necessity, right? So I love the fact that you're stepping in and filling in this gap. So first, Carrie, before we get started, share with us, who is Carrie?
Who's Carrie? Carrie is a single mom. I'm in Ontario, Canada, kind of close to Toronto. And I have been hustling with these side hustles for many, many years. And it actually all happened accidentally. Back in 2007, I was pregnant and was excited about this baby coming, but I didn't really know how it was going to work out. I didn't know, was I going to love being a mom? Well, turns out I love being a mom. And prior to the baby, I was corporate. I loved working. I would do overtime anytime anyone asked me. I was very eager, had a great work ethic. Baby comes, Carrie's no longer interested in work for someone else. And I'm like, how can I stay home with this kiddo? And at the time, I decided to start an event rental company. And it just took off. My big goal back in 2007 was to make like $500. That's it. I was just kind of trying to pass the time. The baby slept a lot at the beginning. $500. I'm like, that would make a pretty big impact. And what do you know? It just blossomed into this giant rental company. And that's kind of where it all started.
What was your corporate background, out of curiosity?
I went to school for human resources, so like business administration, and I was in project management. Yeah, a whole bunch of jobs along the way, but that's where I left
And
off.
that is awesome, because that actually aligns you with understanding the systems and sequences to creating a profitable opportunity.
Yes.
Okay, so let's dive into what you're doing now.
Sure. So let's fast forward to just before COVID happened. Wonderful, wonderful times, right? It was just a couple months prior to COVID, and I had this sudden urge to do something different. I've been doing this other event rental business for about 14 years. I was too good at it. It was too easy. It was super automated, and it wasn't challenging enough for me anymore. But I loved the rental industry. I love the theme. And I'm like, okay, how can I stay with the rental industry, but change it up so that I'm challenged again? So I was looking into things, and I came across moving box rentals. So I don't know, Kim, if you've seen this. You're out in Alberta, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know they have them there. There's a bunch in Calgary for sure I know about, but they're everywhere. I had no idea this type of company even existed. And my God, if I had known about this the last time I moved when my kids were 6 months and 2 years old, I would have jumped all over it. So basically, it is moving boxes like about this big, and you use those to pack up your house with. So rather than going to all these stores, do you have any cardboard boxes? Rather than asking people, do you have any cardboard boxes? Rather than saving all your Amazon boxes to move with, you just get these things delivered to your house. And so that's what I do. I deliver them to people's homes. They pack up their whole house. They move with these totes, and then once they get there and unpack, I go pick them back up. And so I'm like, this sounds fantastic. And so I gave it a whirl. I ordered all my bins. Um, and then, just like the first business, it just blossomed into this giant thing. It was super popular. And I was having so much success with it that I'm like, I need to tell other women about this. I had so much flexibility in my life. I had a couple kids with special needs, and they consumed a lot of my time. I was very involved with the school, and I was able to do everything. I was on all the field trips and everything. I'm like, more moms need to know about this. I was making killer income, very, very comfortable in life. And so, yeah, so that's how I'm like, I need to tell women, how do I do this? I was actually involved in a training with Tony Robbins, a huge fan of him. And he was talking about teaching courses. And I'm like, teaching runs in my family. Like I'm a pretty good teacher. And so I looked into it, and I put this ad up on a random Facebook group. Hey, I've got this business. It's awesome. Anyone interested? I worded it a lot better than that. But that's basically what I said. And I had, what was it, like 150, 160 women just DM me like crazy. Tell me more, tell me more. I'm like, oh, I think I'm onto something here. And so that's where Carrie's Courses was born. So that was back in 2021.
So in these courses, I think some of the biggest challenges people run into is either A, on the structuring of the automation side of things,
Mm,
or B, on the taxation and payables
okay.
side of things. So
Mhm.
are those things that you teach them, A, either where to get the information or how to implement it within their business? Because a lot of people get excited about having the conversation or the ideas around things, but it's those nuts and bolts. It's the devil in the details,
Mhm.
right? That can bury a business.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so what does that look like with you?
Well, lucky for me, I'm extremely detail oriented. I'm very, very thorough kind of gal. So, what I like to do when I'm teaching these courses is I assume that women know nothing, that they are starting from scratch. They've never run a business before. And if they have run a business before, they can just kind of skip through those modules. They don't need to go through everything. But for the women that don't know what the heck they're doing, it takes them through all those steps. The tricky part is that because I'm teaching women worldwide, at first I was like, oh, let's just teach people in Canada. And then I started to get some Americans interested. I'm like, okay, well, we'll branch out. Then I had someone from Australia raising their hand. I'm like, okay, let's do that too. And so the tricky part is everybody has their own laws. But that's the great thing about the course is we have group coaching for 14 weeks, as well as a bunch of private coaching sessions. So I help them with every little thing, anything that they're stuck on. We've got full tech support and all that stuff. So they're very, very well supported.
What are some of the challenges that you see that are kind of almost a common theme with these with your students? What's like your top 3 challenges in these women starting this business or starting any business along, through Carrie's courses?
I think a lot of people don't know how to build a website. Like that's not typically a skill that you learn. So everyone can type, but to make a website, that's a totally different skill. A lot of people have to source that out, get someone to build it for them. So that is a giant component of the courses. I show them, I actually give them a replica of my website. And so it's like a template all ready to go, and then they just customize it. One of my strengths is I'm all about automation. Like I mentioned with my last rental business, I had that thing so automated, I was barely working. All these automated text reminders out to customers, all the scheduling, I didn't do anything. It was all done. And so I did the exact same thing with my moving box rental company. So I'm teaching people how to automate. I'm teaching them how to build a website. So that's one thing. Another thing people struggle with is, how do I find clients? How do I market to people? How do I advertise? And so I have the type of personality that I don't just try something once. I'll keep going until I figure it out. So I have tried, man, I think I've tried every single booking system that's known to mankind. I've tried a whole bunch of different advertising methods. And so those are the types of things I teach in the course, so that they know exactly what works for Carrie and what didn't work for Carrie, so that they can avoid it and potentially save a lot of money. A third thing, let's think. So we've got the advertising, we've got the website and automation. Um, let's see, what would be something else? I don't know. My
What
mind
if
just went blank.
what about billing? Like, is that in the automation
Yeah,
cycle? Would you have the billing put
yeah.
into and do you teach them, like, what is the right equation? Is it 18% profitability? Is it a 32% profitability? Is it a like, what do you think is something that in this business they should be striving for? Because they're gonna have cost of transportation,
Mhm.
so you don't have any control over fuel costs, and if you're in Canada, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, there's going to be cost of getting the boxes. Now, do the boxes like for the boxes, do they fold down
Mhm.
so that your storage is less?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they
okay,
actually nestle is the word that they use, or nest. They nestle inside of each other, so that I can fit from floor to ceiling. I can fit 25 high. Most people that start this business start with like 200, 300, 400 totes. That's kind of what they start with. Um, but yeah, they see, the point of the business is not to have them stored at your house, right? The
yes,
point of the business
exactly.
is for them to be at customers' homes. So at the beginning, yeah, they're all there, and you're like, oh my god, what have I got myself into? And then as you get into business, they're out, they're out, they're out, they're out, and then you look in your garage and there's hardly anything in there. So that's the point of the business, right?
Excellent. And then so I would assume you would need probably a small truck or a minivan or something like that to get these hauled around?
Yeah,
Or
I
do
use
some people use a courier service?
I don't think so. That really cuts into your profits. So
Yeah.
I use my minivan. A lot of women have used their pickup trucks. A lot of women have used SUVs. Something that I'm tinkering around with is, I now have customers come to my house to pick them up. And so, because of gas prices, right? And so they come and pick them up, they take them to their house, and when they're done unpacking, they bring it back. And so now I've just eliminated all my gas prices. So, actually, to answer your other question, I forgot to answer. You asked about the profitability. So, the beauty of this business is there's really no cost. And I'll explain what I mean. So, I already have a garage. I'm not paying anything extra for it. It's just sitting there. It's ready to go. So I'm not paying for heat or hydro or anything extra. It's already there. So there's no overhead there. The only thing I have to pay for is my cleaner, which I make myself. It's just like a homemade solution because it's cheaper than buying store brand. Some cloths to clean it. I have a little vacuum to vacuum them out. That's it. There's no other overhead. There's no other cost. Of course, you have to pay for a monthly fee for the website, but other than that, there's nothing. And so the overhead's super, super small. With this business, I've never needed to hire anybody. It's something I can absolutely do on my own. It's like 10, 15 hours a week. Very, very simple to move, like to integrate into anyone's busy lifestyle. You just kind of clean the totes whenever you have time, right? It's not like, oh, 9 o'clock, I better get in there. No, you just do it whenever you want. So, for those that have little toddlers and who are busy with kids, then you just, oh, they're napping. Now might be a good time to go and clean them and that sort of thing. So profitability is super high because there's no cost, there's no fees, there's no charges for me to worry about besides the website and the cleaning of them. That's it.
And as somebody who has moved and has moved a lot of people, over 1,500 real estate transactions,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, could real estate agents, as a liaison to people who are moving, could you offer some sort of program with real estate agents
Mhm.
that either A, they go in part on the initial costs of setup, and it's like, okay, you get these for X amount of dollars for your
Mhm.
clients, and you can
Yep.
pass that on.
Mhm.
Do you have anything in your program or platform that you teach around how to make those business to business relationships
Mhm.
so it's not always out business to customer?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I have a bunch of realtors that I've teamed up with. So anytime they've got a sale to make with their client, they're like, "Oh, by the way, I have this great contact. She gives you X amount of dollars off," and then they rent right through me through that contact. So I didn't need to spend any money on advertising. I just have a relationship with this realtor. And the other thing is, how many do I have? I think two or three realtor students of mine. So they are a real estate agent and they took my course. So they rent these totes out in their community to their clients.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Actually, that's brilliant, especially with where we're at right now with very low inventory, shifting mortgage rates. There's going to be a lot of real estate agents who have come in over the last, you know, 4, 5, 6 years that may not make it through this new market shift. And this may be an alternative because they already have people's information,
That's
right?
yeah, they've got email list and they're already talking to their prospective clients, right? They're already right there in their little circle, and they know a ton of real estate agents, so they have a lot of partnerships that they can team up
That's
with.
brilliant. That's
Mhm.
brilliant. I wouldn't have I mean, I would have, but I more from the perspective of, just teaming up with agents who are doing a ton of business and just offering it to their clients, but as an alternative revenue
Mhm.
for real estate agents,
Mhm.
and I would think even like people who are in house cleaning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
House cleaners.
Mhm.
Um, wow, there's some really great like verticals there.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to dive into, so let's say we get 300 buckets. How many contracts weekly would that serve? And what is my revenue average? I'm not looking for exact numbers. You will not be held responsible for exact numbers, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get an idea because this is actually really very brilliant.
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, I teach people to start with like 250, 300. And so for me, I have 300. And sure, I could order more because I'm sold out sometimes, but I don't order more because I have other businesses, right? So I don't want to make any more with this business. I'm quite happy with the amount of money I'm making. So with those 300 bins, the max amount of people I can look after in a whole month is like 8, 9, 10 at the most. It all depends on how many they order. I've had someone order 110, right? That just took up a third of my inventory. And then I had another woman, man, she had my totes for over a year. And so something I wasn't expecting when I started this business is I assumed everybody would be renting them for a house move. What I soon realized is people were using these for office moves. Didn't even think about that one. People were using these for renovations. So they would pack up their kitchen and they would move these totes like in the garage or another plate in the basement maybe while they're doing the reno. And
Mm.
this poor lady, she was doing a reno in her kitchen and the contractors were delayed, 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 delayed. That's why she had them for a whole year. So that was nice because I charged a daily rate, made a killing off of that one. And so, yeah, so the most I can have is 8 customers at the probably that's my max. That's all I got to look for is 8 people a month that are moving in my community. And I kind of look for about a 45-minute radius from where I am. So I'm close to Niagara Falls over here, and Toronto is over here. So I'm kind of right in the middle, which is really nice. And the majority of the contracts are somewhere around anywhere from like 200 to 500. That's about how much you make per customer. It all depends, right? Sometimes they only order it for 2 weeks. Sometimes they order it for 3 months. You just never know. But on average, it's like two, three, four, 500, something like that.
So off of 300 bands, you can look reasonably at a couple $1,000s a month?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. What a great side hustle. And
yeah,
if you're doing Uber with it, now you already have a delivery system.
exactly. Good point.
Oh, crazy. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. Um, I want to go through. So you have a background, project management, business administration, HR, kind of already have everything in place to run this. What? would you say in getting up and running or looking at the your options and stuff, you know, let's walk through a moment of resiliency. I want to know when you hit a wall, because we all hit walls.
Mhm,
Life is not easy.
mhm.
When you hit a wall, what did that look like and how did you push through?
Okay, I got a good example for you. So my event rental business was like every year it was going like sales were just climbing every single year. In fact, January, February of 2020 were my best months I've ever had. And then, of course, we all know what happened in March. And in Canada, in
Yeah.
Ontario, I think, I'm not sure, but I think we had one of the strictest restrictions amongst Canadians. Like, oh my God. And so I was pretty much out of business for about 18 months because events were just banned. And so thank God, obviously didn't know this was coming, but thank God I had just started my moving box rental company. I think it was January 2020 is when I started it, right? So perfect timing. And that's why I'm a huge component of having multiple side hustles because you just never know. You don't know what's going to happen. I didn't see that coming. I thought, my sales just kept going up. It's just going to continue that way. So now, I guess it was around, I don't know, August 2021. Finally, restrictions were lifted and I was able to get back into business. But thank God I had my other side hustle. And of course, I had started the Carrie's courses. So I had three going at once.
Yeah, and that's pretty normal though. Like nowadays, I mean, God love millennials, right? They just taught us all that the side hustle is, and it's funny because they were ahead of it. Like this is just where they were at,
Mhm.
and then you get all the old people like me, and then my parents, my mother's generation, which they're all retired now anyway, and that that kind of the rules of employment or engagement at that for that generation is, you want a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, for 25 years. And then
Mhm.
my generation was, well, 9 to 5, I'll keep it for 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And now we've moved into, I'm going to set my own hours and I'm going to do three different things. One is a proficiency, one is a passion,
Mhm.
and one is an opportunity that presented, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's this really incredible mix.
Mhm.
So you mentioned Tony Robbins earlier. I want to dive into books. What is a book that you recommend all your students read?
The secret.
The Secret.
Mhm.
That's a good one.
Oh man,
That-
manifestation is so important. And I had no idea. I had no idea. No one ever talked to me about this ever. I think how old would I have been? Maybe in my mid 30s when someone handed me this book. I'm like, what the heck is this? And like even last night when I'm slowly drifting off to sleep, I'll put on a YouTube video about manifestation. I'm telling you it works. It's unreal. If you stick with it every single day, I think they say like 30 days. You listen to the same video for 30 days, you'll be amazed at what happens from that. So the secret really, really opened
and
up
it's
my
what you're
eyes.
feeding yourself with. So
Yeah.
I think that manifestation, mindset, all of these things, they're not without work. They're not without work. They are not. They do not. Manifestation and magically appearing are not the same thing. They. It is not magic. It is manifesting the mindset to be open and receptive to opportunity that you choose to take action on.
Yeah.
Because without action, you do not have any results.
Yes. Hmm.
So yeah, that The Secret is great. The movie's great too.
It was.
And the movie has a good soundtrack. Have you ever listened to just the soundtrack? It's got like this, it's cinematic. It's cinematic music and it's got power to it.
Oh,
So
really? It was so many years ago that I watched the movie, so I'm gonna have to dig that up again.
dig it up because it's one of those things that constantly feeding yourself. You have to constantly feed yourself because the world in general has human beings. It's easier to frown than it is to smile. It's our it is easy. No, these are like, it's a physical with the muscles in the face. The
Oh,
muscles actually naturally rest into a downward position. It takes more work on your muscles to smile. I'm a smiler. I've always smiled. It's just my thing.
Mhm.
Um, Human nature goes with have you ever read James Clear Atomic Habits? You seem like an atomic habit kind of gal.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. There you go, folks. I'm throwing the gauntlet down. Carrie, it's an easy read. You can listen to it on Audible when you're delivering and that's the
Mhm.
beauty of this business. And think how smart you can get just by listening to Audibles all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
James Clear Atomic Habits and it talks about human nature cannot have a negative and a positive in their mind at the same time. You
Mm,
can't. You cannot have a negative and positive in your operating in the front of your brain at the same time.
yeah.
And that we tend to look for easy routes that have harder returns instead of doing the harder things up front, which is like taking a course and learning the things that you don't know.
Yeah.
So you have an easier opportunity for revenue generation.
Mhm.
And I'm guilty, folks. I'm going to tell you, I'm guilty. I've been working on a course that was supposed to be 12 weeks. I think I'm in week 25. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it myself. I mean, it's like, oh, there's so many other things. And it's like, but it's that whole saying of eat the frog first,
Mhm.
right? Eat the
Mhm.
frog first.
Mhm.
Uh, Carrie, when is your next round of courses available?
A
In a
week?
week.
Mhm.
Okay. And how often do you run these courses?
I've decided I'm going to try to do them either every 2 months or every month. So every month is the goal. Before I was doing them every 3 to 4 months. So I'm good now. I've done it several rounds, so I can handle a little bit more. So I'm looking at every month. That's the goal.
Awesome. Awesome. And where can people find you?
You can go to Instagram. It's Carrie's Courses, so Carrie, Carrie's Courses.
Carrie?
I also have a Facebook group. It's called. Let's see what it's called. Make sure I give you the right number or right title. Moving Box Rental Side Hustle for Women, and that's where I kind of give away all my secrets and let everybody know anything that they're like. I don't know. Have you thought about this, Carrie? Oh yes, I've thought about this, and here's how you get past it. Or anything that might be standing in their way, and that's where a lot of the conversations happen. So those two areas are where you
And
can find
you
me.
also have a YouTube, correct? Do you do much on YouTube? Because YouTube is kind of interesting.
It is.
It's got some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I I'm not very good at making it regular, but whenever I'm like, oh, I should make a video on this, I just do it. I kind of just wing it. My brother, interestingly enough, has a YouTube channel with like I don't even know how many followers, at least over 1 million. So he's doing really well. So I understand the value of YouTube. It's just never been something that I've put a
Yeah.
ton of effort into it. But yeah, I've got several
Okay, so
videos up
your
there.
brother has a YouTube channel. What is his use? What does he do? Out of curiosity.
So he's called Brian. It's totally different. It's called Brian Christopher Slots. And he actually will take his phone and he'll go into a casino and film himself playing slot machines. And people all over the world are obsessed with him.
Okay. Meanwhile, Carrie's over here doing the hard work, folks. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
he works hard. He works day and night. He hustles for that. He's doing amazing with it. But yeah, completely
That
different
is
lifestyle.
crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man. And I don't even see how you could actually tie those two things together. I was going to say, oh, a guest appearance on his YouTube by Carrie, but I don't even see how that comes together.
Yeah.
So, I did put Carrie's Facebook group up on the
Oh,
screen here.
mhm.
Um, we will also have all your contact information in the show notes that we have here. Carrie, is there any free downloadables on your website? Is there anything along those lines that like do you have any like tips and trick sheets that maybe people can just kind of get comfortable with you up front and
Yeah, I've got a couple of freebies on my website. So it's carriescourses.com. Um, and I'm just going to actually send you a link here because I've updated the name of the group. It might still go to the same one, but I'll just give that to you. Do you see it in the chat there?
I do.
Okay,
Let
sorry.
me
Yeah, I might have
No worries.
flashed.
No worries.
It might still redirect, but just in case it doesn't.
Okay, I'm actually going to put your website up here. Can we get to that page through your website?
Yeah, I
Do you
think
have
there's a link there. Do you have my website?
I do right here.
All right, perfect.
There we go. So there is the website, folks.
That's it.
I am going to copy this link address, and then I want to go into your quote. I always like to find out. I believe that quotes really show people's mindset,
Mm,
and and that's why I always ask quotes. I ask books, because success leaves clues. And the days that you don't feel successful, the days that you're feeling a little beaten up, a little tired, a little overwhelmed, I want you to listen to what Carrie's got to say. I want you to go take a look at the book Carrie's recommended. I want you to lean in and write her quote on your bathroom mirror, write it on your hand, put it on your wall, put it on your desk. Do something. Do something because it's okay if you aren't feeling inspired, it's okay to borrow inspiration from others. That's why you're here.
mhm.
That's why you're here. I'm going to put in your group here.
Okay.
And
There it
Carrie, what is your quote?
So, what I like to say is that you should never underestimate your, I'm going to just say manifestation. You should never underestimate what you're capable of. And you are able to accomplish so much more in life than you actually think. And all you need is the right business coach. You just need the right person to push you along. And yeah, absolutely, you're capable of so much more than you think.
I'm going to put that right up here, kind of my version of that. We're going to add that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you can never underestimate. And I think this ties in really well with a lot of women walk around with imposter syndrome. A lot of women are walking around with rules that are so archaic. We do not have to sit quietly. We do not have to wait or be polite. We do not have to be ladylike. What the heck is ladylike? Is
Mm,
ladylike speaking up saying, I want to make an extra $2,000 this month, and it's okay if I haul out these bins and I haul around. Think about the workout your arms are going to get. Nobody wants, the bat wings, right? And you can't see mine. I've got my big sweater on because it's still flipping minus like gazillion here in
yeah,
Calgary.
yeah.
Um, you know, the reality is that if you underestimate yourself, then nobody else will see the value within you.
Hmm.
And I just had this conversation with somebody earlier. If you truly do care and you do want to serve, it is up to you to show up and serve the people who need your service. It's awfully selfish not to be able to serve the people who need serving when you are willing to do it from a place of honesty and integrity, you know.
Hmm.
It's really important. It's really important. That's what I love about this new gig economy. It allows people to make the money where their hearts are and where they can serve.
Hmm. Absolutely. Out of all businesses I've had, this Carrie's courses is by far my most favorite because I'm able to make a big impact on people's lives, a huge impact. A lot of the ladies actually in my course also have other businesses, so they have transferred some of the skills I've taught into those businesses as well. That's been a common theme, and it is so much fun for me to see them get into business, to start from nothing and all of a sudden 100 days later be in business. It is so rewarding. I absolutely love it.
You know, that's the sign of somebody who wants to serve.
Yeah.
That's the sign.
Yeah.
You're a rock star, Carrie, and this is just the start.
Yes.
This is just the start. You got another 40 years in you for sure.
Oh God. No.
Carrie's gonna have Carrie's AI. You're gonna come up with your own AI, and it's just gonna do everything, and it will be able to drive the car and drop it off. Right? It's all gonna be automated.
That's awesome.
Can
What a
you
great
imagine?
idea. Yeah.
All righty, folks. Carrie, any final words you'd like to share with the audience?
Not really. I think, if any of you are interested in doing anything like this, the first thing I would do is obviously contact me because I'd love to chat with you. I'm always on the DMs ready to chat with anybody. But, do a quick Google search, type in tote rentals, box rentals, moving rentals, stuff like that. And you might see there's a couple in your community already, or you might not. If there are a couple in your community, just remember one thing I told you at the beginning is in order to be completely sold out, need 8 customers a month. So if you live in an area where there's like a million people, think you're fine, honey. You'll definitely find your 8 customers a month, even if you only find 5 and you make 1,500 that month. That's fantastic. That's a lot of money. So start Googling, see what's going on in your community. And if you're interested, absolutely reach out. I'll walk you through the whole process. And even if you have never done business before, I'll get you started. Even if you're a complete superstar with business, I'll still get you started. And I'll show you all the tricks I've learned since 2007.
That made me think. One final question.
Yep.
Average startup cost
Like for the course, or you mean to buy the bins?
for the bins.
For the bins? It's tricky because I have no control over the prices. So what I do in my course is I hook you up with a fantastic supplier in the States. He gives my students a discount, but you don't have to go there. You can just, source out your own person. But unfortunately, the rates keep going up, right? And I have no control over that. So what I paid back in 2019 before I started is different than today. They average around $20 US per tote, to give you an idea. So yeah, it's a big investment at the beginning. But within a year you can get it paid back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Probably get it paid back within renting them what, 4 or 5 times.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. So that's a full cash return, and then you have your rest of your year just to make money.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Carrie, thank you for showing up and giving us alternatives.
Yes.
A lot of people right now don't feel they have alternatives. And there you go, folks. There's an alternative. One I hadn't thought of. That is awesome. That is that, and that's something that, you know what? You could even look at young adults helping you get that done. If you've got one that needs to go to college, here you go.
Mhm.
Here's a college fund.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right, Carrie, until next time, thank you so much for joining me. And I want to thank everybody out there for sharing your most valuable resource, your time. Until next time, be good to yourself. Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching. And you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that sharing is caring.